You are tuned into the July 9th, 2020 meeting of the Santa Monica Rent Control Board. This is a special meeting being broadcast via teleconference due to Executive Order N2920 issued by Governor Newsom to stop the spread of COVID-19. May we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Commissioner Foster.
Here.
Commissioner Duran.
Here.
Commissioner Terosas.
Here.
Chair Phyllis.
Here.
And Commissioner Sultan is not here yet.
Next item on the agenda, yes, Executive Director Condon.
I just wanted to mention that in the city's posting of this meeting, they erroneously provided a phone number that people could call into to make public comment tonight. But our practice is to have people submit their requests by 4:30 today. So I just wanted to make that clear that we don't have the ability to take comments that are called in to the number on the city's website. That's all.
Thank you very much. And I think that's on a going forward basis. Folks who wish to make public comment should email rentcontrol@smgov.net by 4:30 p.m. on the day of the meeting, and they can request public comment. We'll arrange it so we can avoid some of the technical difficulties, I guess, with the dial-in number.
That's right. Thank you.
Great. Next item on the agenda is item number 5, approval of the minutes for June 11, 2020. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I will move.
So moved.
Commissioner Duran moved. Commissioner Foster, do you want a second? Okay. Motion by Commissioner Duran, second by Commissioner Foster. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Commissioner Foster. Commissioner Terosas.
Yes.
Commissioner Duran.
Yes.
And Chair Phyllis.
Yes.
Motion carries.
So next item on the agenda is special agenda items. This is an opportunity for us to provide announcements pertaining to the Rent Control Board. Executive Director Condon, do you have any announcements?
Yes, I have a few this evening. Thank you. First of all, I want to mention that the board's summer mailing to all property owners and tenants in rent-controlled units was mailed at the end of June. This informs everybody about the annual rent increase and the pass-through of surcharges where they're applicable. Everybody should have received that by now. Additionally, owners should have received their registration fee bills. If an owner has not received the bill by this time and they'd like us to send out a duplicate copy, we'd be happy to do that if they contact our office at 310-458-8751. If these are due by August 3rd, in order for the owner to be able to pass through half of the fee to the tenants on a monthly basis, as well as to increase the rents. This year, given the COVID-19 situation, we will not be having an in-person workshop to assist owners in filling out their rent increase notices, but anybody who feels that they need help can call our office and we'll be happy to help them out with that. And also, if it would be helpful, we can set up a video conference to do that with them as well. I also wanted to mention that the city is now accepting applications for a COVID-19 emergency rental assistance program. Applications can be submitted through next Friday, July 17th. This program will provide low-income applicants with up to 3 months of rental assistance and up to $5,000 per household. Applicants must demonstrate a loss of income or increase in expenses due to COVID-19, and eligible applicants will be entered into a lottery for final selection. There's more information about the program at the santamonica.gov/coronavirus-rent help website. So anybody interested in that should take a look at that and submit their application by next Friday. I also wanted to mention that this year there will be 2 Rent Control Board seats to be filled in the November 3rd, 2020 election. The nomination period starts this coming Monday, July 13th, and the City Clerk's Office will be holding the candidate workshop at 10 a.m. on Monday via live video conference. Anybody who's interested in joining that should look for more information about the specific way to access the video conference at the city's election website, www.smvote.org. Yesterday, an executive order was issued by the city reducing the number of signatures that will be required to successfully get your name on the ballot. They've been reduced from 100 to 60 signatures for this election cycle only. I'm sure additional information will be provided about that at the workshop on Monday. City officials are also asking petition gatherers to wear a face covering, wash their hands frequently, properly social distance, and sanitize any surfaces that are used, including pens and clipboards. As I said, there will be more information at the workshop on Monday, and everybody is welcome to join in on that teleconference. Those are the announcements that I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Condon, Executive Director Condon. Commissioner Trosis, would you mind if I took a brief privilege? Okay. And I'll be sure to recognize you after. I just want to express, as the chair of the Rent Control Board, my extreme concern about the ableist and anti-public health position that's still requiring position of the city to still require 60 signatures as opposed to 100 signatures to get on the ballot. I think that it defies common sense, as well as the direction that we've been given regarding avoiding non-essential contact, and unnecessarily puts both candidates and constituents at risk. I know of several groups, including groups with folks in the medical and health industries, that have expressed extreme concern about this position. And I hope that the folks who have the ability to change this position seriously consider the feedback that they are getting throughout the community, that this is unacceptable and unnecessarily exposes people to the risks of COVID-19 for no other purpose than essentially to make it harder to get on the ballot. So I just want that, to be known, wide open and out there. I think in particular, it really discourages folks who are high risk or perhaps have a disability, which is disturbingly ableist. I think that serious consideration needs to be given to reducing the signature requirement, if wet signatures are required at all, to under 30. I know Commissioner Trosis, you also wanted to be recognized, so I'm going to turn this over to you now.
Thank you. And Chair Phyllis, I appreciate your comments. I echo those comments. I think that those who have been speaking with me in the past weeks know that I'm extremely concerned about the public health situation. I'm hearing that we're going to have even more restricted public health orders, and I think that this is in direct contravention to our public health order, both at a state and at a local level. That we need to avoid all non-necessary contact. The fact that the city clerk's office has advised us to wear masks and bring sanitizer is completely unacceptable as far as I'm concerned. It's also discriminatory, as Commissioner Phyllis stated. Anyone with an underlying health condition is precluded from participating in this process. Anyone of a certain age is precluded from participating in this process. And even though I am up for re-election, I believe in the democratic process, and I think that this puts a chilling effect on people participating in our public, free and fair election system. So I'm very disappointed to hear the guidance here tonight. Director Condon, I know this is absolutely not directed at you or anyone on our staff. I know you guys are fabulous. And I would just say I've sought guidance of the counsel at the Secretary of State's office. And I'm even hesitant to say that physical wet signatures are required. And I feel that our city clerk's office is going forward to make this more difficult because it's convenient for them to do so. And that's very disappointing to hear. I would like all Santa Monicans to be able to participate in both the nomination and the election process. So thank you for recognizing me.
Thank you, Commissioner Trosis. I see a lot of nodding among board members. I think it's particularly telling that you have incumbents on this board who are willing to stand up and say this defies public health, even though really it's the incumbents who benefit from making it more onerous to get on the ballot. So I really want to applaud both Commissioner Trosis and Commissioner Foster for taking a pretty courageous stance on protecting our public health and the democratic process. Commissioner Foster.
And there is some debate as to whether it will continue to be directed between now and Monday by an emergency order of the city manager, or whether it might perhaps be up to council to give direction on those emergency ordinance thresholds. So if the members of the public have an opinion on further lowering it to whatever state law will allow, be sure to make your voices heard. Everyone deserves a chance to run for office, and those who choose to do so deserve to have a chance to do it fairly and in plain sight and safely. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Foster. Okay, next item on the agenda is public comment. I know that we have 2 requests to speak tonight. Public comment provides an opportunity for members of the public to speak to the board on any issue of general interest that's within the board's subject matter jurisdiction and not currently on the agenda. I know we have 2 speakers tonight, Mr. Haas and Ms. Horner. Both have 3 minutes, and I'd like to call on Mr. Haas to present his public comment now.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Mort Haas. I live at 1115 25th Street, Apartment E in Santa Monica for over 40 years. The surcharges from the property tax bill are currently distributed to the tenant's rent increase by dividing the total amount of the surcharges by the number of units in the building. I feel this is not equitable, as it makes smaller units with fewer occupants pay the same as larger units. It would be more reasonable to divide the total total amount of the surcharges by the number of bedrooms in the building. This would spread the surcharge amount in a more equitable fashion and would not add any real complexity to the calculations. For example, I live in a building with 6 units. I currently pay 1/6 of the surcharges. Of the 6 units, 2 are 3-bedroom, 2 are 2-bedroom, and 2 are 1-bedroom. So the building has 12 bedrooms. If the surcharges were divided by 12 and then charged per bedroom, the 3-bedroom units would pay 3/12 or 1/4. The 2-bedroom units would pay 2/12 or 1/6, and the 1-bedroom units would pay 1/12, a much more reasonable distribution. This would be fair and would not impose an undue burden on any of the units, as does the current calculation. Why should a 1-bedroom apartment pay the same portion of the surcharges as a 3-bedroom apartment? In addition, since the surcharges are mostly about schools and water, they are really more applicable to larger units who have children. I am a senior with no children, and I am carrying the others with my larger payment. Making this small adjustment would ensure that the tenants are charged fairly. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Haas. Our next speaker for public comment is Ms. Horner. Ms. Horner, you have 3 minutes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Deidre Horner. Good evening. Thank you for your time. I've lived in Santa Monica for over 26 years now, over half my life, and I absolutely adore our little beach community. My husband and I both are very happy here. However, I do not understand how at this time, this year in particular, only this year, how you can actually raise the rent in Santa Monica in September 1 penny. With the amount of unemployment, I understand that there's assistance. I get assistance, but assistance doesn't mean free. It means you will have assistance, but you still have to pay, and guess what? You're also going to pay the rent increase too. I think with the amount of unemployment, with the amount of looting, the loss for this beautiful city, with the fires, the looting, and other horrific events, I really do not understand, plus COVID. on top of it. And the amount of all of this in a place which is so beautiful and so admired for its, as far as I'm concerned, benevolence. You have a yearly Juneteenth celebrations. It's an incredible thing. Many people don't even know that. It's a great, great city. I don't understand how you could even increase the rent. So I pose that there is a rent freeze this year only for Santa Monicans. I think it would be fair. We all know, just spin around, throw a rock, you'll hit a homeless person. There are homeless people everywhere, and there are going to be more, because eventually people will have to pay back the rent that is owed. So if there is at least a rent freeze this year, I feel that that would be appropriate. I would like if the council could please look at this seriously. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Horner. Just for your reference, I know this was something that was contemplated by the board, I believe, in both the May and June meetings. And so I hope that if you've not had the opportunity to consider those deliberations, that that you may want to consult with the archives, the archived video, and also the minutes from those meetings. I hope that that will provide some clarity. I know we can't deliberate on this now, but I hope that we can at least provide you some direction that this was something that was contemplated by the board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is item 10A, which is an owner occupancy exemption. And the recommendation is to grant. This is a relatively straightforward exemption. Unless there is an objection from a board member, I would propose that we adopt the findings and facts and conclusions of law as recommended, and forego a staff report. I'm willing to hear from my other fellow commissioners. I understand that there are no speakers on the item as well.
I concur with that statement. Are you making a motion? Because I can second it.
Yep. If there's, I just wanted to take the temperature, make sure there wasn't an objection, but sounds like there's not.
No, there's no objection by me.
Great. So I'll move that we adopt the findings of fact and conclusions of law as set forth in the staff report. Is there a second?
Second.
May we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Commissioner Duran,
Yes.
Commissioner Terosas,
Yes.
Commissioner Foster,
Yes.
Commissioner Salton,
Yes.
and Chair Phyllis.
Yes.
Motion carries.
This was a relatively light meeting this evening. This brings us to adjournment. Thank you, everyone, for your attention to the meeting. I know that it's a different format, but we're all getting through it together. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Foster, second by Commissioner Duran. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Commissioner Terosas,
Yes.
Commissioner Salton, Commissioner Foster,
Yes.
Commissioner Duran,
Yes.
and Chair Phyllis.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, everyone, for your attention tonight. This concludes the July 9th meeting of the Santa Monica Rent Control Board.
All right, we'll see you in August. Thank
Bye.
See you in August.
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.